That's weird. Sorry, I'm grabbing my mic stand and I'm looking at the waveform, and when the when I when I hold it like that, it's that much quieter in the dead spaces. That's really strange. Very strange indeed. So do I just, if I mean, maybe it's just the vibration, so if I like just let go of it very gently. Yeah, cool. I don't know what the fuck is causing that. Hey there, guys. What's up? My name is Hayden McKenzie. Welcome to episode 3 of With Hayden. Today with Hayden, I hate that intro. I really hate that intro so much. I'm so sorry. Today with Hayden, we're going to be talking about a couple new releases, as well as some upcoming things, as well as some non-movie related things. So, it's been a very rambunctious week since the last episode. I recorded episodes 1 and 2 basically at the same time, and that was nearly 2 weeks ago now, so I think I have a bit of an excuse in saying that a lot of news has gone by in the time since I've recorded last. So, Cyberpunk 2077 has come out. Disney has released a whole new slate of releases for the foreseeable future, both in theaters and on Disney+, and we just have a lot of shit going on right now. So, let's start with Cyberpunk. Now, I pre-ordered Cyberpunk a couple of months ago because I was really looking forward to it. Okay, I think I saw the I don't know if it was like a first trailer, because I honestly don't know when this game started being made. But it was the trailer that aired at E3 last year with Keanu Reeves coming out and like hyping everybody up. So I saw that trailer and I'm like, there's no actual gameplay in that, but the actual narrative within itself in the actual trailer seemed like an interesting concept. So I watched the radar for a while, checked for new trailers, and when gameplay started dropping, I was fucking floored. Obviously, it's important for someone to realize that a game is, or anything really, is not going to be exactly like it is in the trailer. Obviously, the trailer is going to embellish certain things, is going to sort of overstate certain things in order to make it more marketable. So I kept that in mind, but I pre-ordered it anyway, and I was really looking forward to it, and it got here. Oh, fuck. Okay, so I'm playing the game on the PS4 on December 10th, launch day. Immediately got hit with like a 7-hour-long day one patch, but I feel like I kind of knew that was going to happen, because already with just the download disc that comes with the game, it was like 40 gigabytes, and with a game as big as Cyberpunk, I was like, okay, I don't think the game probably just wasn't all there when it was released, and when playing it, it definitely feels like that. This game does not feel finished. This game feels like it needed at least another 3 months in the workshop. I mean, the workshop, I sound like a fucking poser, dude. But yeah, just so rough around the edges, I suppose. Very buggy. On the PS4 or last gen consoles now, it is bordering on unplayable at times. I haven't played it in a few days. I know that they released another patch, so who knows? Maybe it's all good now. I am recording this on Tuesday, December 15th, so who knows? Maybe it's totally a good game now. I don't think it is, but it was just a buggy fucking nightmare. Every single time my character died, the game would crash and I'd have to launch it all over again, and I'm really bad at video games, so that happened a lot. Several different bugs. My character's penis just disappeared at one point, and honestly, I don't know how to get it back. I still don't have it. To the last of my knowledge, my character remains dickless, and that is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking, and I know that's happened to several different people actually. So yeah, it's just incredibly wrinkly, and it's not at all what I was expecting from a finished game that was being sold at full price. Now, of course, that isn't entirely the fault of CD Projekt Red. Yes, it's their fault for releasing an unfinished game. However, they had already delayed the game, like 3 times before this, so maybe they were just feeling pressured by the fan base, pressured by just expectations of the game to release it on time. And obviously there's the pressure of the holidays. Release this in December, you get in there for the holiday season. That's a logical point of view, except it just causes it's cause for a very wrinkly, unfinished game. And honestly, I feel like the most recent updates have just been the parts of the game that they didn't finish on time. It's really just astounding to me how almost peer pressure, in a sense, can cause a studio like this to release a game in a state like that. Obviously, if I gave the game some time, I'm sure it'll be way better. They can improve it to make it the game that they promised it was going to be 2 years ago, or however fucking long. And that would be awesome. I would fucking love to play that game. But as of now, in its current state, it is definitely not that. I played about 5 hours of it ever since launch, which was, I guess, 5 days ago now. And yeah, it's just such a nightmare to play. And on top of that, it doesn't even deliver on the things that it said it was going to deliver on. Like, welcome to the next generation of open world. It's not that next generation. I mean, I'm playing on a PS4, and obviously the processing power of a console like this is limited, but there's so few NPCs at any given time in any given area. The quests are sort of run-of-the-mill, really. I mean, I didn't take much time to tamper with much of the side content, but honestly, the main storyline is very Skyrim-esque in a way, very dialogue-driven. You got the dialogue trees and stuff, and it all feels very run-of-the-mill RPG, which sucks. It really sucks, because with all the things that this game was promising, I expected something way different than what I ended up getting. And maybe that's my fault. Maybe it's their fault for marketing it like some kind of revolutionary, generation-defining game. Who knows? Honestly, it's probably a mixture of both. But yeah, by the time the next episode comes out, I'll probably have played it more. Might have even beaten the main campaign, because I've heard it was pretty short. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna stick through the patches and stuff like that. I'm gonna wait for it to sort of get ironed out and become the game that they promised it would be. But as of now, it is definitely not that. Yeah, that's really sad to say, because I was really fucking looking forward to this game, and it was just, from what I've played, it's so revolutionarily disappointing. But hey, you know, what can you do? Nothing can be perfect, I suppose, but when you pay $60 for a video game, you at least want the video game to be finished. You know what I'm saying? I think you know what I'm saying. So, yeah, that's Cyberpunk. I guess I'll fucking let you guys know what I think of it next week, but as of now, I'm kind of pissed. But yeah, anyway, that's about all I have to say about that. In other news, Disney just released information on a ton of new properties coming up. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick, because there's a fuck ton of them that I gotta sift through. Hang on just a moment. So they've announced about, I don't know, this looks like fucking 20 new releases, and some of them were obviously already in the works and already known about, so I'm just gonna run through these really quick. So, we got Safety, which I don't know what that is. Sorry, boys. Soul, which is coming out next week, actually. Shit. Nomadland, which I've heard was very good. Flora and Ulysses, which is a Disney Plus exclusive. Again, never heard of that. And it seems to be an adaptation of a children's novel. So, yeah, how about that? Raya and the Last Dragon. Never heard of it. The King's Man. Is that fucking Disney? I guess that's Disney, because it's Fox, huh? Holy shit. Wow. The King's Man, the Kingsman prequel, is fucking Disney. That's disgusting. Bob's Burgers the movie. Ron's Gone Wrong. I don't know what this is. Set in the possibly not so distant future, where talking and digitally connected bots are now kids' best friends. Okay, sounds like a Disney movie. Black Widow, Free Guy, which looks like shit. Cruella, Luca, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. By the way, if you haven't seen the animated Pretty Much It skit about Shang-Chi, it's pretty funny. I don't really like Pretty Much It as a whole. I think they're kind of a not funny. And they haven't been funny ever since Jacob left, but that skit is pretty funny. Jungle Cruise, Deep Water, The Beatles Get Back, which I'm fucking pumped for. I love rock and roll documentaries, much more than rock and roll biopics. I think I'm going to do an episode on rock and roll biopics in the future and how rock and roll documentaries are just so much fucking better. So much fucking better, dude. Holy shit. Death on the Nile, which doesn't look that great. The Last Duel, Eternals, which is another Marvel property. The story of Eternals sounds interesting. I'm not sure if it'll play out as such. I don't know much of anything about its production or anything. I'm not familiar with the director, but I'm optimistic for that. I just don't know how I feel about modern Marvel. Post-Endgame Marvel is just confusing to me. It feels like the franchise ended, and it's sort of just keeping on, and it doesn't really feel deserved. Anyway, Encanto, don't know what that is. West Side Story, which is supposed to be out, I think? Oh no, it's coming out next year. My bad. I'm pretty sure that had a release date for this year and then it got delayed. With Ansel Elgort. Ooh. Spider-Man Far From Home sequel. Don't know whenever that's... Oh, I guess it's coming out next year. How about that? Nimona. Again, never heard of it. Turning Red. Never heard of it. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It seems like most of the big Marvel sequels coming out, like Thor and Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, get really clunky titles. Because I feel like with all the characters that survived at the end of Marvel Phase 3, it's like, okay, yeah, you know these characters, you know these fucking movies, just watch this movie with the clunky-ass title that probably wouldn't even fit in a YouTube title. For example, Thor Love and Thunder, Lightyear, which is, I think, a Buzz Lightyear prequel movie? Like a Toy Story prequel about Buzz Lightyear? That's fucking weird. Black Panther 2, really fucking weird. Don't know how they're going to do that without Chadwick Boseman. Really not looking forward to that. I mean, I didn't care much for the Black Panther movie anyway. I thought it was painfully average, but without Chadwick Boseman, who was a very powerful lead in that movie, oh boy, that's going to be really weird because fuck me if it's his sister, I swear. I'm just not going to watch it. Untitled Indiana Jones film. Directed by James Mangold. That's weird. How about that? Captain Marvel 2. Didn't like the first Captain Marvel, so I'm probably not going to see it. Avatar 2, if that ever fucking comes out. Doubt it will, to be perfectly honest. I'm calling it now. Avatar 2. Has it already been delayed indefinitely? It might have been. But if it hasn't, I'm calling it now. It's going to get delayed indefinitely. Star Wars Rogue Squadron, directed by Patty Jenkins. Never heard of that. I didn't know that was a thing. Patty Jenkins. She's the Wonder Woman chick. Yeah, Wonder Woman was okay. Not really too much looking forward for Wonder Woman 84, but I'll probably watch it anyway. Avatar 3, 4, and 5 coming out in 2024, 2026, and 2028. Like there's gonna be a fucking world left in 2028. You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. Antlers. Everybody's talking about Jamie. Fantastic Four, directed by John Watts. Jesus Christ. I'm so shocked that they haven't given up on the Fantastic Four franchise yet. Because it has never worked on the big screen. Fan Four Stick sucked ass. Those two Fantastic Four movies from fucking forever ago sucked ass, dude. It's not gonna be good. I'm sorry, it's not gonna be good. The French Dispatch. I'm kind of indifferent on Wes Anderson. I like Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's about it. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I'm really looking forward to, because the first two are probably two of the best Marvel movies, in my opinion. Children of Blood and Bone, which I think is based off of a book, The Little Mermaid. I guess it's another live-action remake. I could talk about that for hours. New Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Oh boy, another new Pirates of the Caribbean movie starring Margot Robbie. 29 dates, don't know what that is. Hunchback movie, so I guess it's about the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Jungle Book 2, fucking hell. Is that Jon Favreau? Yeah. Jungle Book 2, directed by Jon Favreau. So if the Jungle Book and the Lion King remakes weren't enough of an indication that those are not worth your time, I guess this will be. Lilo and Stitch. Fuck, okay. I'm getting mad. I'm getting mad reading this. I'm sorry. Sadie, Sade, Sister Act 3. Why? Who the So you're telling me someone's gonna be like, oh, really looking forward to Sister Act 3. You know what I mean? The Sword and the Stone, another live action remake. Blade? What the fuck? Starring Mahershala Ali. That's interesting. I wonder where they'll go with that. National Treasure 3. boy, that just makes me want to steal the Declaration of Independence. Pinocchio live-action movie directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks. Oh boy, it's gonna be Forrest Gump and Castaway, but with a wooden doll. Gotta love those Oscar bait movies. Forrest Gump is way better than Castaway, but I don't know if either of them are truly great. I do like Forrest Gump a lot, but I don't know if I'd call it like a fantastic movie, really, and Castaway was really just really forgettable. Shrunk. Looks like we're getting the gang back together again for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot. Oh boy, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, starring John Mulaney and Andy Samberg. What the fuck? What the fuck? Peter Pan and Wendy, Robin Hood live-action movie. Hercules live-action movie. Aladdin sequel and spin-off. Christ, there's so many of these. Holy shit. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Okay, so yeah, that title sucks. And a bunch of other movies that I just don't care for. Hocus Pocus 2, Three Men and a Baby remake starring Zac Efron, Cheaper by the Dozen remake, Diary of a Wimpy Kid animated remake, The Lion King prequel directed by Barry Jenkins, Ice Age remake, Night at the Museum animated film, Disenchanted. Was that the Matt Groening thing? Or was that a Netflix thing? I don't know. Home Alone. Okay, yeah, a lot of new releases, and I'm looking at like 30 untitled films right now. Now, I know there's also a lot of Disney Plus things that are coming out. There's Loki and WandaVision and the Winter Soldier one, and I think that's it. There's probably a lot more, but those are the only ones that I can remember. So, yeah, not really looking forward to much of any of those. I guess I'm optimistic for the Eternals, and I guess I'm optimistic for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and that's it. I guess I'll watch Loki and WandaVision, because, well, WandaVision, I remember the trailer for that. WandaVision just looks like it's trying really hard to be Season 2, Episode 6 of Mr. Robot. where he gets like knocked out and he like has a dream, he being Elliot, when Elliot is like in a coma and he imagines that he's in like an episode of Full House. It seems like it's trying to be that, like, ooh, what if a sitcom was dark and self-aware? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, maybe not for like an 8-hour series, but you know, whatever. And Loki, I guess, looks okay. It looks interesting. It's kind of weird to me how they're giving these like Disney Plus series, like they're giving them film budgets, because if you look at the trailer, I didn't watch the trailer for the Winter Soldier one, I'm sorry, I'm a terrible person, but if you look at the trailer for WandaVision and Loki, they look really good. I mean, I'm not going to comment on the actual visual style, because I feel like Marvel has always been kind of weak in that regard, no matter the director, except for maybe the Guardians movies. I don't know, that's a tough debate, but anyway, they look very polished. They don't look like a TV show. And I guess that has to do with the golden age of television and streaming services. But yeah, we'll get into that. So that's all the Disney titles that I can remember. I really don't know how I feel about any of those, except for like 2 or 3 that I'm kind of optimistic towards. But yeah. Anyway, let's get into one of the 2 movie recommendations. Well, not recommendations, but one of the 2 movies that I decided to watch in preparation for this episode, being Mank. Now, I'm going to open up my notes for Mank real quick, if I saved them, because I very well may not have. And it doesn't seem like I did. Cool. So, basically, Mank is a film directed by David Fincher, director of Fight Club, Zodiac, The Social Network, Gone Girl, fucking Mindhunter, I guess, Seven, all of these like revolutionary fucking iconic films and television series, let's not forget. This film was a mixed bag for me, really. I think at the end of the day, it was terribly and I think that's sort of the general consensus of the film amongst most people. It's no masterpiece, certainly no masterpiece, but it's also not bad. It's not bad at all. In fact, I would say that this is probably one of David Fincher's most competent films. I haven't seen all of his films. I think I've only seen Fight Club and Gone Girl. I really need to watch Zodiac, and I really want to watch Zodiac. I might do an episode in the future where I binge all of David Fincher's films and talk about it. See, The great thing about this podcast is that it gives me an excuse to watch a lot of movies, to go out of my way and watch a lot of movies. Like next episode, okay, I'm not going to spoil what I'm going to do next episode, but it's encouraging me to watch 3 movies that I otherwise probably wouldn't have watched. Anyway, this is probably David Fincher's most competent film that I've seen of his in terms of the visuals and the style. It is such a distinct style that is different to every other film that I've seen of his. The thing that David Fincher does is he reinvents his style for every film that he makes, yet he manages to retain the same flair to where you can watch it, and if you're well versed in the director, you will know that it's a product of David Fincher. And it's really quite interesting to see, but unfortunately this film was just so bland in terms of a story. It just seemed like a story that didn't deserve to be told, let alone with a feature-length runtime. And like, as sad as that is to say, I think this might be one of Fincher's worst films. Obviously, I haven't seen Alien 3, and I don't know if I ever will watch Alien 3, if I'm being perfectly honest. Doesn't seem like something that would really be my forte. Or is it Alien Cubed? Anyway. Yeah, this film isn't terrible. It's not terrible at all. It's not even bad. To call this film bad would be the biggest overstatement of the fucking millennia, okay? It is not a bad film. There are so many fucking powerhouses in almost every regard in this film. It's such a beautiful movie. It's probably one of the prettiest films that I've seen this year. Gary Oldman does a pretty good job, but I don't really care for Gary Oldman as an actor, so, you know, take that with a grain of salt, I guess. Amanda Seyfried is fucking amazing in this film. She steals the show every time she's on screen. She just fucking kills it in this movie. Everyone does a really good job. Even Bill Nye does a good job in the one scene that he's in. But it just, something about this just wasn't working for me. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes long or something like that. And at about the 90-minute mark, I checked the runtime and I'm like, okay, so where is this going? What's the goal here? I'm not feeling anything really, and that was my biggest problem. I didn't feel anything throughout it. It sort of just ran right through me, and I hate to say that because when a movie has so much talent behind it, such as this, and the absolute powerhouse direction of David Fincher, it makes you think that this is a story that is worth telling, and I just didn't get that vibe with this, honestly. I really didn't. And that sucks. It really does suck. The film itself doesn't suck. I'm good at repeating myself. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for me to even articulate my thoughts about this movie because I don't even remember what happened to a certain degree. And I lost my notes. I wrote a fuck ton of notes on this movie while I was watching it, but I didn't save the document before shutting down my computer. So fuck me, I guess. Let's check my Letterboxd review. So yeah, basically everything that I'm saying here now. Maybe this would be different if I had seen Citizen Kane, and I haven't seen Citizen Kane. So maybe I should have watched that before watching Mank, but when going into Mank, I had no idea what it was even about. To be perfectly honest, I was just sort of going into it. I hadn't seen a trailer or anything because that's how I like going into movies. If I can help it, I want to go in totally blind, just knowing nothing, because typically genre and story doesn't really matter to me as long as I am grabbed, as long as I am grabbed by the content, as long as I'm grabbed by the story. I don't care about what the content actually is. For example, Enter the Void is a film with just obscene graphic sex and violence and just debauchery all around. However, the film grabs me enough to where I am not particularly disgusted by any of it. Granted, it's still horrific and gross when the violence does happen. However, it's not something that I feel like is just gross for the sake of gross. And not to say that Mank is like a shocker movie in any way, because it's not. It's not. It just isn't. It's not even that it isn't trying to be. There's no content of that sort in this movie. But what I'm trying to say is that this story didn't have the pull for me to keep me invested for a full 130 minutes. And that sucks to say with a Fincher film, because Fincher is one of the most talented directors of this generation. Well, he's not in this generation, but he's one of the most talented directors of the past 50 fucking years. 50 fucking years. Like, if anyone were to be the next Kubrick, it would be Fincher. You know what I mean? And seeing a film like this where it's like not even a dud, but just kind of a sterile piece of film, it's I don't know. It's very upsetting. I feel like I got from this film what a lot of people got from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when that came out. Now, I love that movie. I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to pieces. In fact, I would go so far as to say that's probably my second favorite Quentin Tarantino film. But a lot of people said that when it came out, it felt like a film meant for old film execs or industry insiders who have been in Hollywood all their lives and see all this imagery, and it's like fan service for that very specific crowd. I didn't get that from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I definitely got that from Mank. It felt like it was actively making fun of me because I didn't know all of the industry jargon and movie references that were going on within. I feel like I need to watch this film a second time and just read the subtitles and make a fucking grocery list as I watch it, so I can watch all of the movies and understand all of the phrases to the point where I can actually watch it and understand it. And when I feel like I need to do homework for a movie, I don't think that's a very successful movie, in my opinion. I'm sure there's people who love shit like that, but it just didn't work for me, unfortunately, with Mank. And as a result, there's precious little for me to say about it. I really like the guy who played Orson Welles. Any film or piece of media that is able to reveal Orson Welles as just a pretentious asshole is something that's all right with me. I don't think he was a genius. Granted, I haven't seen his most famous work, but he just seemed like a bit of a prick to me. You know, and you can be a genius, but if you're a prick, I'm not gonna like you, you know? And I don't think I would like Orson Welles. I wouldn't want to sit down for dinner with Orson Welles. I don't know, I kind of got off track there, but anyway, that's basically all I have to say about Mank. Unfortunately, there's really not much to go off of for that, and that's unfortunate, really. It is really unfortunate, but hey, what can you do? At the end of the day, I'm going to give Mank a 6 out of 10. I may rewatch it in the future, if only to write down that shopping list so I could inform myself on old cinema, which is something that I need to do anyway. I perfectly admit the fact that I really want to become more knowledgeable of the golden age of cinema, which I guess was like the 40s through the end of the 60s. Because that's an era of film that I haven't seen a lot of, and I would love to explore that more. Who knows? Maybe this podcast will give me an excuse to do that. I have a notepad document where I write down ideas, and I have like 30 episodes planned out. So if episode 31 is the Golden Age of Hollywood edition, you didn't hear it from me, okay? So yeah, that's Mank. Now, what was really interesting to me is that this is the third film of this year that has had a fairly large release and groundswell, at least in the communities that I assimilate myself in, can't fucking talk, that has been released straight to Netflix. Now, obviously, that was going to be a bit of a given with some films this year, because unfortunately, we got hit with the fucking pandemic. So, yeah, no one was really expecting that, I don't think. But, as a result, 3 of what I would say are the biggest films this year, being The Five Bloods, I'm Thinking of Ending Things, and Mank, went straight to Netflix. Now, I think Mank had a limited theatrical run. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it did. However, it had a very wide release on Netflix, and that's how most people are seeing it. So, it went straight to Netflix. And it's just very interesting to look at that and wonder how big of an impact streaming services are going to have on cinema in the future, because obviously a couple episodes ago, back in episode 1, I discussed how Warner Brothers is releasing all of their 2021 movies on HBO Max, which is a very bold move, except in a day and age like this where large movies from huge directors like Spike Lee and fucking David Fincher are going straight to Netflix. Hell, Martin Scorsese released a film straight to Netflix last year with The Irishman. It doesn't seem like such a bold move. Now, I've grown to agree less and less with the Warner Brothers decision, because Denis Villeneuve, director of Dune, released a big essay article on how he intended for that film to be seen in a theater and how you should see it in a theater, which, you know, I don't want Warner Brothers to trample on artistic intent for the sake of revenue. But anyhow, it's going to be very interesting to see how cinema evolves, because granted, I'm not old by any means. I just turned 17, so obviously I'm still a fucking baby, but it's going to be very interesting to see this evolve, because I was still born in the age of the movie theater, and the movie theater experience is something that is very prominent in my mind. And it's going to be weird to see how this impacts future generations of film lovers, because who knows, maybe in 20 years there will be a time where you have some kid who loves movies and he's never been to a movie theater. I mean, that happens even today, but anyway, I don't know. I think I'm getting off track with that. It's just going to be very strange. There's really no end point to that point of conversation. Anyhow, let's go ahead and talk about the next film on today's slate, and the last film on today's slate, which is another straight-to-streaming film, Zappa. Now, I love Frank Zappa, okay? Frank Zappa is probably one of my favorite composers of all time. And that sounds like a very pretentious theater kid thing to say. Like, Ennio Morricone and Zappa, those are the two. But it's true. Zappa was a great composer. He was a living fucking legend. And the amount of talent that is on display when you listen to his music, and the amount of creativity that is on display, is just absolutely phenomenal. It's unthinkable, you know? Which is why I found a documentary like Zappa to be so equally heartwarming and saddening. So, Zappa is a 2020 rock and roll documentary directed by Alex Winter, and tells the life story of Frank Zappa. So, what they did with this film is, I'm sure there's a dozen documentaries on Frank Zappa, but this film is it's claimed as the definitive documentary on Zappa's life, because it does a deep dive into Zappa's own personal archive of footage and unreleased music and stuff like that. He had a whole vault in his house when he died of basically his entire life, chronicled through film and tape, which is insane. And I mean, most people know that. That's been common knowledge for quite some time. It's just astounding to see so much of that put on the screen in a film like Zappa. There are so many aspects of this film, so many different sequences of this film that contain footage that I would be amazed to know even existed. So Frank Zappa had, I think, 3 or 4 children, his first child being Moon Zappa. So they got to the point of his life in the documentary where they talked about the birth of Moon Zappa. Cut to home video footage of Frank Zappa with baby Moon in his arms. Fucking, how do you get that footage? How do you get that fucking... When was Moon Zappa born? Let's look this up right now. You know, I'm on a roll here. Moon Zappa was born in 1967, okay? So that means that is actual, like, 8mm film reel from 1967. Like, holy shit, the fact that that's been preserved in Zappa's home for 53 years is astounding to me. And I can only imagine how fun this film must have been to edit. Now, let me look real quick to see who edited this film. Alex Winter and Mike J. Nichols worked on this film in the editing process, and I can only imagine both how grueling and how fun editing a film like Zappa must have been, because holy shit, that's going through all that footage. There's so much old concert footage, so much home video footage. There's footage of Zappa when he visited Czechoslovakia and the Soviet Union. Like, holy shit, the fact that that footage even exists is insane enough, but the fact that they were able to bring it to the public eye is phenomenal to me. And I found this film to be incredibly informative and incredibly interesting. It's something that I could see myself watching over and over, not just because I love Frank Zappa, but because of just the incredible tone and feel that the film brings with all of this old footage. And obviously it was made with, like, in conjunction with the Zappa estate, so the Zappa's family obviously overlooked the production of this. So all of the music from Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention are here. It's all there. All of the footage from the vault that's been kept secret for so many years. It's astounding to see it all come to light, and it's a film experience that I don't think I will ever forget. Assuming that my love for Zappa pertains throughout the rest of, I don't know, I could die tomorrow, who knows, I don't fucking know, I'm not your dad. Anyway, there are a few negatives for this film. Funny enough, I wish it were longer. It's not just me being a fanboy and wishing this film was 6 hours long, but it lacked depth in certain areas that I feel like depth should have been attained, and an extended runtime would have helped with that. Obviously, if you want to make a 2-hour feature, making a documentary about a concept this grand is difficult to put into feature length. So if this were like a 6 or 8 hour miniseries, holy shit, that would be incredible. That would be absolutely incredible. But yeah, I don't know. Other than that, I don't know if I have many other complaints with it. I really loved Zappa. I really loved this film, and it brought a lot of knowledge and insight to a man that I idolized for a very long time. Zappa's been dead for about 30 years. I think 27 years now, and you know, it's just very almost inspiring to see what I believe is a true musical genius at work. You know what I mean? Which is exactly why I feel like this film could have been 8 or 9 hours long, and I wouldn't have complained. So, yeah, that's Zappa. I can't say too much more about it without breaking it apart and picking it apart piece by piece. So, just go and check it out. I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10, or a 4 out of 5 for you Letterboxd geeks. And, yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Had a real good time with this. Loved talking about the films that we talked about. Loved talking about the death of cinema and the death of video games too. Oh my gosh. Holy shit. It's all going to shit now, boys. We're fucked. This series is only going to be 5 episodes long, because by episode 5, all the major film studios will blow up. This is true. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying anymore. I really don't. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Next episode, we're going to be having a very Cronenberg Christmas. Now, what that means is I'm going to be watching 3 films from both David and Brandon Cronenberg. David Cronenberg, the father, Brandon Cronenberg, the son. The films we're going to be talking about: Scanners, Naked Lunch, and Possessor. Scanners and Naked Lunch have been in my watch list for fucking forever, so it'll be great to watch those. And Possessor is a very recent release. So, you know, what better way to spend your Christmas than watching 3 gory-ass, disturbing-ass movies? You know? I can't think of any better way to spend the holidays. So yeah, that'll do it for this episode. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one.